It's good to communicate, and the way of communicating is very important as well. So then when you let them know, like you should communicate from a place of love.
You know, that's what their brain expects. And like, be ready. Defense system. Yeah, like, be ready. Right? That's like...
Hello everyone, welcome back to Evolving Echo. We have a very special guest today, Dr. Jennifer. Can you tell us a bit of background about yourself?
Hi, so my name is Jennifer, and I'm a doctor by profession, and I also have a master's in wellbeing and health behavior from Tallinn University.
Yes. So you did your research on like burnouts and stuff, right? Can you please explain what does it really mean to you?
So my research wasn't exactly on burnout. It was on the mental well-being of doctors in Ukraine, in the war zone regions. And yes, burnout was a part of it. To basically, okay, so I will explain what burnout is, if that's what you would rather. Okay, so basically burnout is like chronic stress. That's the simplest way to put it. Chronic stress, which now leads to emotional, psychological exhaustion. So basically in life generally, like you have different things that stress you out, but if this stress is like constant and continuous, and it could be from work, it could be from pressures or responsibilities that you're having, if it's something that you're not taking care of in the moment, then if it continues happening, then it now leads to burnout.
Have you ever experienced this?
Personally, I wouldn't say I have experienced burnout, but there's a lot of people.
I have.
Yes.
It happened to me.
Story.
I don't know. Like, okay, so it's hard to recognize it, I think, sometimes, but basically, you're just overwhelmed. For me, it's being overwhelmed by things, and it can be daily stuff. It can be school, work, and if it's like too much and you don't have time for yourself just to kind of relax, you're in constant rush maybe, I think then I get burnout. I think I was kind of getting to that point last month, but it was, and I was feeling overwhelmed for a month or something, or like getting there, but I didn't get, luckily I didn't get, but it was difficult. Even like getting there is already like challenging, and it causes emotional distress, and it's hard to focus on work. You have a lot of thoughts in your head as well. I mean, that's my personal experience. And yeah, what helped me is, I don't know, I took some time off from work, like couple of days, and then I don't know, I talked about it with a therapist, and yeah, and just took things slow.
How did you how did you know that you are like starting to get into that phase?
I think just the feeling of being overwhelmed, like that what was telling me, okay, like I'm feeling like I'm getting off the rails. That's the feeling. I don't know if it's if I define it correctly though.
Yes, you did. I also think that people often don't recognize burnout. A lot of people are burnt out that they don't even know. They just realize that like they suddenly don't feel joy anymore. They're constantly tired, constantly overwhelmed. They can't focus. They're having like brain fog. They like just start to hate their job, start to have resentment. They start to feel underappreciated at work, you know, things like that. They can have some other symptoms like headaches or muscle aches and pains, and like they don't really know what's going on. They just feel exhausted, like they don't want to deal with anything anymore. They don't even feel like they're good at what they're doing anymore. They kind of start losing interest in the work that they're doing. So they might not be able to define it as burnout. They just know that they're feeling just exhausted with everything.
I think when I was in my master's, right, I think it was like about after 6 months, I think, of my first year. At that time, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I knew nothing about the studies, because I felt that all of my friends had some experiences. They knew what they are like learning at school, right? And I was like, what? I don't know anything what's going on. And then I think, like, yes, I was trying my hard to learn and stuff, right? But still, I feel like, okay, I don't know to whom I should like share my these kind of like feelings, and like I was super lost. And I think I did not know if burnout, this kind of thing existed. I think I was just like, okay, maybe I'm just feeling down because of studies, and like just like normal. Yeah. Did you ever feel like that in masters?
I think not only in masters, but I was somewhere there throughout my studies. I was maybe, I'm not sure. I think I always had this approach where fake it till you make it. It kind of works for me, and I think at the second year of my bachelor, I just told myself to not compare myself to anyone else and just focus on my path. And then it was easier for me to just move forward, because I was a bit, or not a bit, I don't know, like I was behind some people, and it was concerning at first. I was like, okay, these people are already doing some stuff, and I'm behind. I can see that. So I took some action on that. Like I took extra courses. I was doing more studying on my own as well. And I just stopped comparing myself to others and just focusing on my path. And that's what I think helped me to not think that way. And it paid off a lot. So I still do it.
That is very sound advice. Because naturally in life, you shouldn't be looking at what others are doing. Your competition should be yourself. When you start to look outside, the outside noise, it starts to make you feel like you're not able or you're incapable of achieving certain things, or like you're behind in life and stuff like that. And it's not really good for your mental health.
Yeah. I think especially when you are like just like on Instagram, like scrolling on things, I see like my friends doing so many stuff. I'm like, I'm not doing anything.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
That's a good word. Yeah.
Because you don't know what's happening in their life, right? Like, and it's not like synchronous, right? It's different path for everyone. So if you were traveling in June and then for 2 months you haven't traveled, and now someone is traveling at this time, well,
exactly. You don't know like if they've been like broke from January till November, and in December they have money to travel, and then you see them traveling, and you're like, oh my god, I haven't done anything.
Exactly. Maybe they're like, exactly, like, or maybe they're just financially responsible and they're just going down in their finances.
Exactly.
And like traveling and having fun, but like in the long run, there will be, you know the word, but and you are like in the opposite. You are actually reasonable with your finances and stuff, and you travel less, but in the long run you will thrive. So like it bigger picture makes you look at this stuff differently, like think differently.
Looking at the bigger picture, for sure.
So I think we sometimes like get distracted by so many stuff in our life that we don't really think about our mental health. Usually people tend to focus on our physical being, because they think that maybe mental health is not actually, how do I think?
Important?
It's
not prioritized.
Not a priority, right?
So, it's not discussed enough as much as physical health. And like this activities and let's say exercises that can improve or sustain your mental health are not really practiced as much as exercises for physical. So like at school, for example, I don't remember talking about mental health at all. And I think it should be part of basic education for kids, and maybe also some like more discussions and more I don't know, practical stuff like in this area should be like.
Yeah, I would say like everyone should go to therapist even though they are not really burnout in their life. What do you think?
Yeah, of course. I think like mental health, first of all, because it's stigmatized and there's a lot of judgment and sensitivity around it, like not many people really want to seek, mental help. But I think it should be normalized, because the same way like if you have a pain, you go to the doctor, it should be as simple as if you also have a mental strain or something, you can go and see a therapist, because many of the great and successful people in life see therapy, and it's not because they are weak or anything is wrong with them, it's because they want to constantly improve themselves. Because therapy is not just only like if you have burnout or if you have a mental illness, like it helps you develop coping mechanisms for everyday life, and helps you like be able to handle stress in an everyday life. So it's not like something that you only do if you're like having a mental illness, in quote, the way that it's stigmatized, in the world, I think.
Yeah.
I would say that that sometimes, so weak is a bad word, but for example, if you see that physically you're not well like developed, and it's like some things, some activities are harder for you, so what you can do is to go to gym or do some sports to get into shape, and you can do stuff that you would like to do, you would like to try, and I think the same works with mental health, where if you see that you're, for example, emotionally not resilient. I don't know if it's like a thing, but I think like emotional resilient is a good quality to have, and not many people have it, and maybe most of them, I don't know, because people don't really think about it, or like maybe you're not emotionally aware, which can be considered as a weakness, basically, like not more like I don't know the right word, but like in physical health, if you're like your hands are weak, that you can't do some particular thing, for example. So you go and do some training, and now it's easier. So kind of the same thing here. So what you do is you go to a specialist, and you practice, and you develop that part that you want. And I think it's like you can look at it like this way. It's like an analogy.
Yeah, when I went to a therapist, she told me that you should start doing something physical. Like maybe it could be swimming, going to gym, what I like. Yeah. Maybe it kind
physical health is also connected with mental health. If you're doing a lot of physical activity. The thing is, if you put, like, for example, in my thesis, when I was checking the general well-being and different factors, because there were different factors that I was checking PTSD, anxiety, depression, coping mechanisms, and I was putting it against the well-being. So I noticed that people that had more resilience, people that had better coping mechanisms, they had better well-being in general. But people that had less, people that had PTSD, people that were suffering from anxiety and depression, like they had lower well-being. Yeah. So yeah.
I think so many of us tend to hide these sort of anxieties because we think that the society is gonna think bad about ourselves, right? So maybe that is one of the reasons why we don't really go to therapists, because I think, is something wrong with that person?
Yeah, I know, like there's a lot of stigma, as I said, and judgment, and people tend to feel sensitive in general when talking about, mental health and mental well-being and stuff like that. But I think that like it should be less stigmatized, and like people should be able to seek help. And I think another reason like why people don't really seek help is because of toxic positivity. Have you ever heard of toxic positivity?
Oh yeah, it's kind of a trend right now.
I think everyone at some point has given out toxic positivity. So it's like extreme optimism. It's like something bad happens to you and you're talking about it, and someone is like, it could have been worse. Or someone is like, at least this is that. Or like, look on the brighter side. or like, you know, maintain positive energy. You think that you're being sympathetic, but you're really not being that way, because like the person, you're dismissing their feelings of negativity. Toxic positivity, you're dismissing negativity in general. And the thing is, life is not only positive, you're invalidating their emotions. So they can't even like seek support from their loved ones or their like people, because when they're talking to their loved ones and trying to express their negative emotions, it's like, oh, it could have been worse. You should be happy that, you know, someone else has it worse. Like, you know, at least this is happening. Look on the bright side, be positive vibes only.
Yeah, I mean, that's toxic.
It is toxic, and people don't realize that that's what they're doing. They feel like they're helping, but you're not really.
I thought this was normal. Like people, if something bad happens, people think, oh, but at least that is good, or this is good. What?
Then you're dismissing their feelings, so then they cannot express what they're actually feeling.
So what should we actually do in that case?
You can instead do active listening.
Okay.
So tell them, okay, I'm listening. Tell me about it. Do you want to talk about it? I know this is hard for you. Is there anything I can do to help? You know, terrible things happen. Is there something I can do for you? Instead of like, oh, because it's like you're like, I don't want to deal with this. It's like, because sometimes people like don't want to deal with other people's uncomfortable emotions. So they say that to like kind of push it away and dismiss it. Like, oh yeah, it's fine. You're going to be fine. It will be fine.
Yeah, I think sometimes I'm in the phase, like if someone is telling me something, I don't know what to say.
Exactly. And
Yes, I understand what they're talking about, but I don't know what to say. Sometimes
sometimes you don't, right?
Yeah, because my sister, sometimes she calls me and then she feels like she's feeling lonely and stuff. Yes, I understand. I give her some advice, but it still does not satisfy her. So I'm just like listening, and she thinks that you are not telling me anything.
The thing is, active listening is very important, because sometimes people just want to vent. They just want to express what they're feeling. They don't want you to give them advice. They don't need your advice. So what you can say is, I'm going to listen to how do you want me to respond in this situation? Do you want my advice, or do you just want to talk so I can listen?
They want to be heard, they want to be understood, and they want empathy.
Exactly.
When you say that someone there is having a worse day than you, it's no empathy whatsoever.
You're invalidating them completely.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it's way worse than what you would imagine, because you've literally just shut them down. Like someone has it worse. Like
it's so bad. I think I have done this. Sometimes like I catch myself at doing this, or like not intentionally, but like and it's like very interesting that this happens, you know. And I think maybe that's because we were like raised this way. I don't know. I think I was raised this way. I think when I was a kid, I was talking about my problems.
You're like, suck it up.
I think like, you know, my parents told me, you know, it's not so bad. But I mean, sometimes it's good to hear that, okay, actually it's not so bad, but then this is not good, and like you don't realize it when you're a kid, and you just do the same afterwards, because you haven't seen
it's a repetitive pattern.
So it's a bit hard to be aware of this.
I think when growing up, also my parents, if something happens, they used to like say like, do this, do that, right? But still, I used to feel like I was not really understood something. Maybe at that time, since it started like piling up, I would say like, okay, what's the point of sharing that?
Exactly. So then you tend to like isolate yourself, because like the people that are supposed to be a support system are not really understanding you, so you can't really express yourself to them.
I think that's the point where I started feeling a bit lonely also sometimes. And I would say like, okay, I'm gonna just study. There's no other way
That's
out.
like coping. In a way, it's a coping mechanism, right? It is. You just distract yourself with something else.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a negative coping mechanism, because there's different types of coping mechanisms.
Avoid the problem.
Avoidance is a negative coping strategy.
Not good.
It's like burying your head in the sand and wishing the problems go away. Or like procrastinating and pushing it aside, or doing everything else but what you're supposed to be doing. You're like not agreeing to, you don't want to deal with it, deal with the emotion or the situation, the problem.
Because we weren't even like taught how to deal with these emotions and stuff, and I think that's exactly. I think that's one of the reasons why I go to therapy right now. It's because sometimes it's hard for me to I don't know. Sometimes if I experience strong emotions or like I would like to have a better hold of my emotions, for example. Not like all the time. Usually it's fine.
Like just navigate your emotions sometimes.
Yeah, like better reaction to my emotions, let's say. And also my emotions trigger a lot of thoughts. And that's another problem that I have. And then I would like to. So I think if I deal with my emotions better, my thoughts are also going to be better. And I think so far it's been good. It's been getting better. But it takes like work, effort, time.
It does, for sure.
I mean, if a therapist give you an advice, I think it's good to implement it. If you are not like if you are just going to a therapist and not doing anything on your side, then it's not going to anywhere.
I think that's another misconception about therapy, that you just go talk
and everything is fixed. No,
you just go talk and everything is in a magical way. It's gonna be resolved because you just talked with a therapist for an hour or something. But it's actually it's only 50% of work, I think, or maybe less, and the rest of it is you actually going and acting. Acting on the stuff that you talked about.
Yeah, when I was in my therapist, I went there because I wanted to understand about myself.
That's very good.
That's very good.
Yeah, I wanted to understand about myself. And we talked about my family background, like everything in general. When I was talking to her, I feel like kind of like peace, or like someone like who I can share anything with. She's not like she's not gonna say
judgment zone.
exactly, right. Like I was like so much at peace. And then like maybe it's like you need someone to have a deep conversation with, at that time you feel like you are being heard, you are being like, like you feel like you are important. Like this,
you feel like you're being seen.
Yes, exactly.
They're very good at listening and like asking the right questions.
Exactly.
That's the best.
They do a lot of active listening, so they're listening, so you can express yourself however you want to express yourself, and then they know what to ask you.
They know what to say, and I admire that, because I sometimes don't know what to say or what to do if someone shares their problems with me, and I'm like, I understand, and it sucks, and like I have no idea how to make it better. I would like to, but all I can say is that
there's two types of empathy. There's the one that naturally, some people are just naturally empathetic, and then there's the learned one. That's the one that professionals use, so they're able to relate to your situation without like being fully immersed in the situation. So they can see your point of view, kind of thing, and be able to advise you based on what your situation is.
I think I'm a very empathetic person because I can feel what others feel usually, and like even when I watch movies, I literally can relate so much to some characters.
You cry?
Yes, I do. I do. It's crazy.
That's nice.
It's actually good. It's actually good.
But I think it's sometimes difficult to express my empathy, maybe like in verbally. I don't know. Like it's very hard, but like emotionally, it's fine.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, like you can feel deeply what others are feeling, but like you don't necessarily know how to verbalize it.
Yes, exactly. I think it's one problem.
I wouldn't say it's a problem.
Okay, that's. I also like questioned it. Is it a problem?
No,
It's not. It's not a problem.
It's just that you just need to basically figure out how to express your empathy more.
Yeah.
Do you think all of these kind of come from how our parents like did our parenting?
Of course.
Right?
I think a lot of things come from childhood.
you as a human being, as you're here right now, you're a product of your parents, you're a product of your upbringing, you're a product of your environment that you grew up in, the schools that you went, everything sums up to who you are right now. So however, whatever parenting style that you experienced has an effect on you growing up. That's why I always tell people, like, there's a certain age that you get to that you cannot keep blaming it on your upbringing. You have to do the work to better yourself. Like, you can't say like, oh yeah, because when I was younger I used to do this or my parents used to do this, so that's why I'm this terrible person. Like, no. You need to now go and work on yourself.
That does sound like an excuse.
It's an excuse to be terrible. Like,
I understand that this is where you came from, which is what made you who you are, but it does, like, he explains it, it doesn't excuse it.
It's good to know this and like self-reflect on that, because then you know what you understand, the connections between your actions right now and the traumas in the past. So but but you can't just say, okay, so this happened and I'm this way now and that's it, it can't be changed. Or like so, or I don't want to do anything about it because in the past this happened to me and now I don't want to do this. I think this is not the right way. If you want to, like,
if you want to be better, if you want to better yourself as a human being and grow,
I would say. And I think that's very important to work on this stuff, and it's possible to resolve these traumas, to these problems, and move forward. But it's hard. It's hard because it takes is getting out of comfort zone, dealing with uncomfortable things, doing uncomfortable stuff.
Yes.
People don't want
doing the work means coming out of your comfort zone. People don't like to step out of their comfort zone.
Which is like expected.
Yes.
Which is normal, but
it's
you gotta.
But
For growth, for change, you need to step out of your comfort zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, like hanging out with the right type of people, I think, when you are doing actually those kind of things.
For
It's
sure.
very important.
For sure.
Yeah.
If I think from my personal experience, I was affected by a person, and it was negatively, like, so in a way I was mistreated, and I couldn't like really see it through. It was my friend, and in a way it was like bullying, I would say.
When was that?
Let's say recently, like last year, something like that. And you can like misread it and see it like as a friendly. How do you say it? Friendly shooting, or like, I don't know. How do you say it? But there is like a term in gaming or something. Friendly fire. I think it's called friendly fire or something like that. But actually, there are blurry lines there, so it can start like that. It's fun. It's it's fine, and you just have fun, basically making fun of each other and stuff. But I think at some point you can cross the line, and it can grow into something else, and you start abusing this kind of dynamics, and it becomes toxic and really negative. And I think I was going through that stuff, and it was affecting me in a negative way because I was acting also like that to some people. And sometimes I couldn't understand why I'm acting like this. Like, I don't really want to, but this comes like naturally in a way. And it's like, and it's very controversial and mixed. And so it makes you even angrier, I think. I mean, it made me like angrier even. About myself, and I could, and that means that my attitude towards other people can be also like that, because I think the way you treat people is the way you feel about yourself.
Yes, I believe that. Have you heard the misery loves company? Hurt people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a nice one.
Yeah. So people that, like, if you notice, even like in schools, for example, there's research that was done, like when you see all these school bullies, people that bully in school, like, yeah, you're looking at the bully, but like look at their home. They're probably in a broken home, they're in an abusive home, their parents beat them up, the father beats up the mother, like there's no love where they're coming from, so they're carrying all that hate and they're just spreading it out.
On other people.
Yes, exactly.
Or like a coping mechanism maybe, or like
it's
negative one.
coping mechanism,
Yeah, there you go.
So how you're feeling inside is how you express yourself on the outside to people.
Yes.
So that's why it's important to always be zen.
And
It's important to make sure that your mental well-being is fine on the level.
And that's crazy when you go through these things, and after a while, only you realize the whole picture, and you're like, "Well, it seems so obvious, and why did I not see it before?" And I think once I resolved this issue, and like distanced myself from this person in a way for some time, and I felt change, positive change in my life. Like I became calmer, kinder. It was easy for me, and less this mixed feelings, less anger, I think, and more positive stuff, more good stuff, I think.
Sorry. I think a lot of things in situations like that is communication or lack thereof. So in situations like this, because that's how, like, for example, toxic patterns start to form. If from the beginning you see something that you don't like and you communicate it, and both of you like come to some resolution and set boundaries, then things can go better. But if like you said, lines were blurred, boundaries were crossed, there's no communication on either way, so there's like resentment on probably both sides, and just hatred starts to brew, and everything just becomes nasty after that.
That's what kind of happened to me. I tried to communicate this or talk about this, but it was very difficult because it takes two parties.
Of course.
I tried, but I couldn't properly do it, and it's like not an easy conversation to have with a friend. And I think at some point I just blew up.
Yeah,
That's what happened.
so I understand that. I think even if I want to communicate with someone, other people might not want to communicate because they might be like avoidant type of people who don't want to deal with their problems, right? I feel like, and then like at that time maybe even if we continue with the thing, right, then in the end it's gonna be like one person is shouting everything, like, okay, why are you doing this and all this.
I think another thing in that also, like, is way of communication as well. So like you might think that you're trying to communicate, but the other person sees it as an attack. So they're defensive now. So then what was supposed to be a calm resolution turns into this whole cascade of just hurt and anger, and no resolution is gotten to, because for you might feel like, but I was communicating, I was trying to communicate, but your way of communication to them was like an attack probably. So then they had their back up, like, because obviously if you're attacking, they're gonna defend.
I can totally relate to that, especially when you like talk about negative stuff.
Yes.
And they're like, are you telling me like I'm this kind of person who
exactly.
can? And I'm like, personally, for me, sometimes it's really difficult to talk about this and like communicate this the right way. I don't know the right way, and especially when I'm experiencing those emotions. And after even a while, like I need more time to process it and say it. But still, sometimes it's hard to find the right words to say it. And I think in these times, it's very important to know the intention. Rather than focus on the intention of that person, rather than the words they say, because words are just words. Sometimes, personally for me, it's really sometimes difficult to describe what I exactly felt, but it was negative, and you're the reason why I felt that way. But I'm not saying you're bad. I'm just saying this happened, and it's like kind of it's a misunderstanding probably, like but I'm just saying to you so I can feel better. Or like relieved, or like, because if I don't, I know that it will like kind of haunt me, Or if it happens again, it will already be accumulated in the form of resentment, and then it gets worse.
Sometimes I think they might not know that they are doing that thing to you.
Exactly.
They just do it because maybe it just comes out naturally to
Yeah,
them.
maybe they meant something else, and it's you.
That's why it's good to communicate, and the way of communicating is very important as well. So then when you let them know, in a like you should communicate from a place of love.
Yeah, that's
You should communicate from a place of, it's not me against you, it's us against the problem.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Because if you're coming at them like you're already hurt, you're already angry, and you're like, yeah, you did this, you made me, they're gonna be like, well, like, hello, what? Like, why are you coming at me? Do you get? So it's like you're coming at them with the problem, and so they're like defensive. But if you're coming from a place of like, you know, I know that you have my best interest at heart, or I know that you're not a bad person, I know you're not trying to hurt me in any way, but I think this you did made me feel some type of way, made me feel like this and that.
I think like when you say not you, but you refer to the situation, it's much better because it's easier to not take it personally. Although again, it's like very delicate, so things can go wrong anyway, even if you say that.
And then there's just some people that are not interested in communication whatsoever. Like no matter how you word it, they're ready. Once you open your mouth, they're ready to take offense. There's some people like that as well. So let's not.
Yeah, I think if that's the case, I think it's better to just like leave. I mean, there's no. I mean, if they are not willing to listen to you,
no, I mean you will try. Yeah.
If you are trying very often, then I think it's better to leave.
Exactly.
It means you have changed something about that dynamics or
I mean, if they are willing to improve, then that's fine. Okay, let's improve. Right. But I think also like when you are close to someone, you like you say stuff that might anger them and stuff. But yeah, I think the thing that you said before about like speaking in a loving way, I think that's very important. Because I might say stuff to my close friends sometimes, which I might not think that they are bad, right? Because I might think, oh, you are this and you are that. Maybe it's just how I grew up, right? But when I'm angry, I might just say random stuff. But I understand, like it might hurt them and stuff.
Yeah. This can happen.
Yeah.
This can happen, and like I think nowadays there is another problem when texting. In texting,
it's so easy to misunderstand.
So easy, like you just hear the voice, but there is no voice. It's just a text.
Maybe you wrote and you put a full stop instead of a smiley. It's looking like, oh, this person has beef with me now. I sense the beef. Even if you put a smile and it's looking like,
oh, it's a passive aggressive.
Is that passive aggressive?
Oh my god. Yeah, but it also can be related to the experiences of those people. Like maybe they have faced this before, or like too often, or like they have friends like that. I don't know, and that's what their brain expects, and like be ready. Defense system. Yeah. Like be ready, right? That's like it kind of makes sense. So the party that hasn't done anything and gets misunderstood also has to take it, I think, like patiently. Just trying to understand, because one party blows up and then you can also blow up, I guess, and then
just
chaos. Exactly. So yeah, it's a very complicated stuff if you think about it.
Yeah. It's hard to understand people. We need to study. Yeah. Even if we study psychology and stuff, I think it's still hard.
Yeah.
But there was this amazing quote, very simple. Act with kindness, I think, or something like that. Just whatever happens, just think first that, okay, whatever I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna add a pinch of kindness there, and go with that.
Even with the harsh people.
Even with the harsh people.
Yeah, I think even with the harsh people, I think they just need some love and kindness.
Yes, that is very true. But also sometimes so do you.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to find a balance. But generally, what you're supposed to do as a human is always spread love and kindness, no matter the situation. But we're human beings. it's difficult. Sometimes you're also having a shitty day, and the person's having a shitty day, and you clash, and it's like, yeah, well, one person should have at least shown the love or the kindness, but
again, it's communication. If you know that someone is having a shitty day, just give them some space. Don't expect
Fix the problem. Like,
don't expect anything from them. Just give them some space so they can cool down and like deal with it themselves.
yeah, this is in relation to like maybe someone close to you, but I'm talking about like some random person.
Okay.
Maybe you're having a bad day and you see this person on the street or someone serving you or someone doing something, you go somewhere and they're so rude to you and you're already pissed off from where you're coming from, like, you know, it's kind of hard to navigate.
Disregard, I don't know, like I think yesterday I had like a situation like that with a cashier at the store. I mean, she was kind of like tense, I think, but honestly I was like still polite and I was like, okay, whatever you're doing, all right, I don't care, I'm just gonna go home and do my stuff. And I didn't want to think about it because I'm like, okay, this is not worth my time, this is not worth my energy, this is not worth my anything, like I'm just gonna go move on, what the hell, right? So that was like very, and after that I just forgot about it. I had a very nice day.
Yeah, it's the best way to go about things. You have to pick and choose what is even worth. Is it even worth it?
Exactly.
That should always be at the back of your mind. Is it even worth it to reply to this rude person? No.
Exactly. I have better problems to do.
Yeah, I have other things to do with. So
Yes, I think sometimes we get to the point that, okay, there's no point in telling that person over and over again the same thing. Right? Yeah, I think these days I have learned to be like slow down. I mean, whatever other people do, I don't care. I feel like I'm like, okay, if they're doing that, okay, fine.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah. If they're not treating me right,
I think
stuff, it's fine.
I think like this is actually amazing when you're able to not give a damn about things.
your life would be so much better.
Yeah, but again, you cannot take it to extremes and like be a total like ignorant. Okay, so I think there is this book by Mark Manson. You know, like the subtle art of
Not giving.
not giving. Okay, I'm gonna say it. Siri can put a beep on it later if she wants. I don't know.
It's fine, I think.
Yeah, it's fine, I guess. But that's the name of the book. What can we do? And that's amazing, I think. And I read that. I mean, I listened to the audio book, but I mean, it's great. It's great. It's amazing. Yeah, you can find it on Spotify.
Sometimes when I have to post something on Instagram, I used to think like, shall I post this or not? I used to think that these days, like, I don't care. I will just post whatever I feel like posting.
If you want to post it, you post it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Maybe because I used to think like, oh, maybe other people might think that, oh, I'm doing this and that. But these days, I think I am very specific what to post and what not to post, in the sense that, like, I don't want to show my whole life on like social
that's
media.
your choice.
Also, and I feel like better that way. But sometimes, like, if because I like doing this kind of interviews, like, okay, hello, I am here, and this kind. I like talking that way, I think, and I just put random stuff, and I feel like I don't know what people are gonna think. Like, I will like whatever. I started posting on my LinkedIn also these days. Do you see?
That's interesting.
On my LinkedIn.
I saw it. I saw it.
Because I feel like I need to post. And I don't care whatever my colleague says, whatever my manager says.
Yeah,
that's good.
now, like, regardless of what you do, people are gonna think what they want to think, and they're gonna see what they want to see.
Exactly.
And that's the bitter truth about people.
Me. It's about them.
Yeah, like,
Really.
it's true.
Yeah.
People have what they're dealing with, and oftentimes they project what they're going through on you, for example.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, it's not even really about me. Like, you're just upset in life. Like, go deal with what's going on with you. I know I'm not the cause of, your problems. Yeah.
I think when I was younger, like 19, 20, like, okay, starting from 18, I would say, I was more anxious than I'm now. Like, I was really anxious when I had to do something for example, that I'm not good at, or where I can make mistakes in public. Like, I don't know, I was going to these English classes, I was learning English more actively, and we had these conversation clubs where we had to like practice with the teacher and other learners, you know. And obviously my English was like, I was like intermediate, so it wasn't great. I was making mistakes and stuff, and that obviously like affected my confidence when I was speaking and so on. So sometimes I was very anxious because I was like, I don't want to make a mistake.
I have so much of stories.
Yeah.
When it comes to public speaking,
it was terrible. I hated feeling that.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
Like on a physical level too.
Yeah, I remember the time when I was in like grade 9 or 10 or 8, I think I did something. Okay, we had to do some debate like in front of the class. I went there. I went in front. And then I had memorized everything. And then I was saying that at home I was like practicing in front of my mom and everyone. Like, and then I knew that it's in my head. When I went in front of everyone in my class, I went blank. And I didn't know what to do. I just went back to my seat and I sat down. That was like such a terrible feeling. Oh my God, I cannot.
Yeah, it feels like failure, right?
Yeah, this is such an improvement. Right
yeah,
now.
but it's just it just happened to you. It's
exactly.
okay.
Right now, I feel like so much.
And also, like failures are not bad. The failures are not bad. Like it took me also a long time to learn it.
Learn what?
Exactly.
To learn that failures are normal and like it's a natural process of learning. But I think I was like that because of the way I was raised again, and all these problems that I was having. It was because of the way I was raised, basically. Not making any mistakes.
You're actively correcting that now by going to therapy.
Yeah. I think one of the things that helped me to get rid of that anxiety is I started caring about what others are gonna think. I became more comfortable with me looking stupid, silly, or like making mistakes. I don't care anymore. I mean, I'm gonna make a mistake in front of 100 people and I don't care. I'm just gonna make a joke about it and move on. And everyone's gonna relate to that. Everyone's gonna laugh with me. Like, no one's gonna be like, "Oh, you made a mistake." Everyone's gonna think that guy is a douchebag.
Exactly. Not you that made the mistake. Yeah.
That's the way to think about this things, and that's actually a real. This is a reality, basically.
Yeah.
And that's why. That's how I think I became much less anxious, and I get anxious only like when I need to get anxious because like anxiety is a survival mechanism, and the reason why we have it still is because it's necessary for for us to feel it, or like in extreme situations it can save us, or like sometimes it's like in a way related to intuition. If you see some person coming towards you and you feel anxiety, or like you feel this strange feeling, this is probably your body telling you that something is off and you should do something about it.
That's not anxiety.
That's just your sympathetic nervous system, is your fight or flight response.
Okay.
So I think people kind of...
Yeah, I can definitely like misunderstand this concepts for sure.
But it's kind of the same feeling as well.
Yeah, it's like, in a way it feels the
survival instinct, yes.
Okay, that's actually something I just learned today. That's cool. Thank you. That's nice. But why do you think people still experience anxiety after this whole like long time of evolution? I mean, I don't know if you guys are on the same page with me. Some people, I've met people grown up at university even, where they literally told me that they don't believe in evolution and like they have different views about this.
What?
Yeah. I mean, just saying. I don't think it's. I'm not gonna like say it's not true or like what. Just it's their opinion, but like from the perspective of evolution, and like we have the things that we kept for a reason. I think that's how it works, because we're way more different than people many centuries ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
So why do you think we still have anxiety and stuff like that?
I think it's just part of our brain chemistry at the end of the day, because in life, like no matter how evolved we are, no matter how evolved we get, for example, we still have the same kind of like mental, I don't want to say problems, but just like mental situations or physical situations that happen to us. So it's like, it's not something that can be removed from life, because in life, a lot of things happen. There are a lot of things to be afraid of in life. The only way anxiety will be taken out of life is if there's suddenly nothing to worry about in life, which is never the case.
Okay, that's a good point. It's a natural response
Exactly.
to the surroundings.
To the stresses of the world, to, you know, inconsistencies, to things that you need to do that have not been done, or things that you're scared of, your future, things like that.
We will always be anxious.
Yeah.
Human being will always
Yeah.
be anxious.
Yeah. But you can regulate the amount of
Exactly.
anxiety, because I think experiencing it every day and often is terrible.
We
'Cause
are the controller of our mind.
so bad. Like
yeah.
I might experience it like maybe twice a month.
So when you have anxiety, what do you experience exactly? What are your symptoms? What do you feel?
I think like physically, I feel like there is like a really uncomfortable feeling inside here in my chest, and like in my stomach as well, I think. And I think like it's hard to describe it, but it's just this part of the body is like kind of tense and keeps me on my nerves, like, yeah, I don't know how to say this, like keeps me stressed in a way. And it also causes a lot of thoughts. I think like anxiety thoughts, or how do you say this, uncontrollable is sometimes flow of thoughts. And it's usually related to something particular that happened, and then it triggers this thing. It's like a reaction to something. I know this, but I don't know how to manage this properly. Yeah. I mean, I tried. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it's very difficult based on what happened to me.
I have realized something. In the past, I don't think anything used to happen to me when I'm feeling anxious, right? These days, I think if I feel like there's like so much of pressure on me at that time, my back, I feel like there's like something heated. I feel like my back is heated, upper back is like heated or something. At that time, I know that.
Heated, like
Yeah, I feel like, kind of like warm or something.
Oh, okay.
At that time, I feel like something is wrong. My body is not able to take that. Like response from my body.
So it's like, like some kind of physical reaction.
Yeah. Recently, I started feeling that or having that. Interesting.
Yeah, and I haven't heard that. Well, I haven't.
Not just me.
I haven't experienced this personally. Like,
Yeah, people have different like symptoms or reactions for anxiety, for example. So that is one of them. Could be one of them.
Then maybe at that time I feel like something is wrong. Something is wrong.
It's because like you're thinking about a specific thing, or you're worrying about a specific thing, then you start to have these like.
I don't know. It's just like in general. Yeah, in general. If I'm feeling too much of, I guess, pressure, or like I have so many things, not like so many things to do, but like if I don't know,
deadline, responsibility.
Yeah, like I don't know.
If you don't know it for sure, or like maybe you could talk to someone, like to some specialist about this, like why exactly? Maybe this is something else. Who knows?
Could be.
So you could check it out.
Yeah.
Which brings me to why people might not be feeling like they need to, or they should, or talk to like a therapist or a professional with the way that you tell them. You see how you told her now, like, you know, maybe you need to check it out and stuff. And she, no, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Yeah, but I just mean like some people, you're like, oh God, did I? because like some people like feel attacked if you just tell them like, yeah, you need to see a therapist. They feel attacked because they're already sensitive enough as it is, and then you're coming to tell
something
them,
is wrong with me.
like, oh, you're trying to say I'm mad or something, like. But no, yeah. So, and you see, like, because you already kind of normalized it, because you're talking about like that you see the therapist because you have this and that. So you make them feel like, okay, this is fine. It's fine to feel like this, you know. If you normalize it and make it seem like a lot of people are going through this. Like, for example, if you go to the doctor and maybe you have to do some kind of examination and you're feeling some type of way, or you feel like you have some sickness that is like going to kill you or something, and then once the doctor tells you like, don't worry, we've had like 20 patients today already with this situation, like you kind of will say, oh, okay, so it's not like I'm about to die now or something. So once you kind of normalize the situation, then people feel like, okay, I guess it's not so bad that I have this, you know, because it's like it's normal to have it.
If you tell them that you are also going through the same similar,
Exactly. If you share a story, if you share a similar story or something like that, then they feel like more like, okay, this is normal. I can,
like, you level with them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think we talked a lot about this topic. And we have so much more to share also. But I think for today, that is it.
We can definitely have like another episode about this.
Yeah. Thank you, Jennifer, for joining us today.
That was amazing.
I'm happy to be here.
It was very insightful.
Such an amazing conversation. And we are gonna end this episode here today.
Please subscribe us, like us,
live.
and share the video. Cheers.
Okay, bye.